Yeah, I have a question. In case of Huawei or companies similar to Huawei who already have manufacturing capacity in Hungary, is there any kind of interest for them in that initiative? How, if they can use somehow the initiative, because basically the logistics are already here in Hungary. Is there any way you can use of it? You're interested in
Actually, I didn't speak with our suppliers about this yet. Actually, OBOR, I think it's a strategy which already have some implemented projects or will include projects which were already finished. And so I think it's a bit early to say whether there are really companies who will be motivated by OBOR policy to come to Hungary. But as Mr. Ernő Pető, actually his presentation totally mirrored Huawei, how Huawei entered the market and why Huawei entered the market. So next time I suggest that you will make the presentation first and I follow as a proof. Okay, so I don't know yet.
There were 2 or 3 huge projects mentioned, like Budapest-Belgrade Railway, and the other is the BBCA project in Szolnok, and Huawei, Wanhua. But besides these 4 or 5 big projects, there are many Chinese companies who wants to find investment possibility in Hungary due to the Belt and Road Initiative, because, as I mentioned, it is an economic policy. The Chinese government pushes the companies, the private companies, to invest. Nowadays, China is the biggest FDI export country. The first, and USA is also the second, only the second one. And even the sum, the amount, is bigger, but China invested abroad. So there are quite a lot of Chinese companies which come to Hungary, buying Hungarian companies, buying Hungarian technology, but these are not reach the governmental level. So Huawei or one Huawei investment or coming of Huawei to Hungary, it was a good news for the newspaper and for everybody. And it was really good. But there are many small investments, again, come from China. And the reason is the BRI, Belt and Road Initiative.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have a little more time, so we can get some more questions if you have.
Sir, once again, my question is directly forward to the President of the China Hungary. Well, basically we know that there are a lot of Chinese like chamber of commerce which is formed by the local communities back in China, and also some provincial level or even a city level, which is based in Hungary, Budapest, and other cities as well. So what is the role, or let's say what is the tendency of these associations or foundations in the future, which, I mean, what kind of roles they play in the public corporations between China and Hungary, which is concerning to the One Belt One Road construction? Thanks.
So as I mentioned, there are many of these Chinese companies. The reason is the following. First of all, if a Chinese company acquires the Hungarian, registered Hungarian companies, or establish a new one, this company is registered in Hungary, it is registered in EU. That means all the products which they are producing, it is made in EU. They do not need any customs procedure, any long-term transport or transit time. They are close to the market. And if we compare the wages between Hungary and the coastal area of China, many times the result is that the wages plus the costs are lower in Hungary than in China, in many times of China. I'm talking about the first circle. And they want to buy technology. They want to buy companies which have market, which they have market knowledge, which have market contacts, and they have a good and well-known product, and they want to establish this technology to Europe and to other parts of the world, and at the same time they want to export this product or this technology back to China.
Okay, thanks. Anybody else? Yeah. So our translator.
I also have a question because in Pető, you briefly mentioned the cooperation between V4 countries and Hungary. And as a PhD student, I often travel in Europe to attend conferences.
I also have a short question to President Pető. You briefly mentioned the cooperation between Hungary and the other V4 countries. And as a matter of fact, I'm a PhD student. I often travel by train in this region. And all of us know that in Germany there is ECR, or in France there is TGV, and in Central Europe the trains are not that developed. At the same time, we also know that in China we have very good technology and excellent engineers for high-speed railways. Are there some plans for Hungary to introduce high-speed railway project to other V4 countries? Thank you.
I wanted to say, when I mentioned the possibility or the necessity of the cooperation, is the following. Hungary has a little bit less than 10 million people. It's not a market for the Chinese. It's a small or medium-sized Chinese city. But our production capability is also not so big that we can show us for the Chinese market. Therefore, we have to find out a cooperation between the neighboring countries, and therefore I talked about V4, but as Slovenia, Croatia and Serbia now is, so to say, member of V4, if we could establish a cooperation with the companies in these countries, so we can have a certain volume of cargo, of goods, foodstuff. I'm talking just a concrete example, milk powder. China has a big demand for milk powder. If we are talking about the Hungarian milk powder production, it's a peanut. But if we are talking about the Polish, Slovakian, Hungarian, Romanian, Serbian milk powder production, it can be a bigger size, it's a bigger volume. Therefore, each country used to say that we are the gateway for China to Europe. Hungary doesn't want to become a gateway, because if you reach a gate, you have to knock. And either they enter you or they told, no thank you. If you come to Hungary, and because we are at the middle of Central Europe, at the middle of or in the heart of Central Europe, you are in. You are behind the gate. So you are in our room. And vice versa. That is what I wanted to say when I told competition and cooperation.
Yes, thanks.
Next question.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I wanted to thank Mr. Pető for his very insightful presentation and these good and needed recommendations for further development of the 16 plus China cooperation. And I wanted to ask about one specific data. First you mentioned like 7 European cities with these freight trains, and then 19. So I just wanted to ask you kindly to be more precise so that I could understand correctly. But the other idea, I just want to add that there were a lot of complaints saying, yes, there being those freight trains coming into Germany, UK, Poland, 2 of them, just to mention one of the 16 countries, but they are coming loaded with Chinese goods to Europe and they are returning to China empty. So this is what you just said, which is absolutely needed. We need to develop a strategy and specific policies for realization of that strategy, how to at least half load those trains on their way back.
So when I mentioned these figures, 7 cities are on the map. I must tell you very frankly, some of the cities or some of the connections were, so to say, prestige connection, because there was a train, a first train from EU to Spain, to Madrid. That is currently the longest container train in the world. But there was no second train. Then also from EU there was a train to London. This was the first train which crossed the tunnel, the La Manche. There was no second train. So the regular trains are going to Duisburg, Hamburg, Warsaw, Lodz, but Malashelice, Warsaw, Lodz, they are like Singapore, transit places, not the end station. And Budapest as a hub also will not be an end station. So what we can manage the neighboring country, which are under Hungary, not under Hungary, but if you see the map, it's not north from Hungary, but south from Hungary. Let's leave the German, Benelux, France direction and destination to use the Belarus, Polish, German line. But whenever we can start to use either line from Malaševice to Budapest or via Ukraine from Záhony to Budapest, of course, I'm sure that at least 95% of the goods, the destination will be not Hungarian destination, but it will go to Slovenia, to North Italy, to Serbia, to Bosnia, Romania, and so on and so on. And I hope these trains, which are coming to Budapest in the future, makes no difference whether via Ukraine or via Poland, Malaševice, these will be regular, scheduled trains, starting with 1 per week, then 2 per week, then 1 per day. So the goods which are going to these countries and the goods which can be loaded to this train back to China. And if we are thinking as a logistic expert, Chengdu and the area is the capital of IT and laptop. There are several components and spare parts which are produced in Europe. There are car components which are produced in Europe and the car production in China. So these are good cargo for this train going back to China. And last but not least, but I told, those kind of agricultural products or foodstuffs from this area, it can be loaded for this train.
Okay, then we thank you, Mr. Ernő, Pető, and Mr. Mariann Gecse. Thank you for your speeches. And now that we will ask Mr. Anton Badrowski to deliver the closing remarks. Thank you.
Well, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in the official program according to the plan, I have a closing speech of about 50 minutes. But I would like to assure you that I won't take your time for that long, just for a few minutes more. I think we had a very interesting and exciting conversation today. Maybe I can be a little biased since I'm one of the organizers, but still I found it very good today. We had various topics today without naming all the presented topics, just selecting some of them. It was interesting to hear about the position of the landlocked countries like Kazakhstan and Mongolia and their interest in the Belt and Road Initiative. We could also hear about the negative image of China in Central Eastern Europe and some advice and strategies. What can we do about it to change this image, to have more opportunities and cooperation? For me, it was also very exciting to hear about 120 countries in the world which count China as their biggest trade partner. I think it's something which we can think about. We had also a chance to learn about the last 7 years of 16+1 countries cooperation and for further opportunities for common projects. We had a section about One Belt, One Road Summit in Beijing from last week and the meaning of the message of the President of China delivered there. We were talking in this section about the big projects along the Belt and Road, including the Belgrade-Budapest Railway and the role of Chinese companies in Hungary. The question was also raised if there is a new order coming led by China, Russia and Turkey, but I'm afraid this is something which will be answered only in the future. I would like to thank all the speakers, organizers and participants who have joined us here today on this sunny day in Budapest. I hope we may create a series, a tradition with this conference, so we can meet here again 1 year later, every year. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. So the conference closes.